This just in on HQ, Ezekiel Elliot might have played his last down with the Cowboys. There's a high likelihood that Dallas will cut Zeke in the coming days. Our Josina Anderson and Jonathan Jones reporting that. The 27-year-old appeared in 15 games with the Cowboys and rushed for 876 yards and 12 touchdowns this past year. Zeke is third in rushing TDs and rushing yards in Cowboy history. Josina putting out this tweet saying, a source tells me that there is a high likelihood the Cowboys will release Zeke Elliott within the next few days with a post-June 1 designation. Elliott, of course, is a three-time Pro Bowler and two-time NFL rushing yards leader. So we mentioned Josina, and of course, we now have to bring her in, our NFL insider. Josina, what's the latest you're hearing surrounding Zeke and the Cowboys?
Well, I think that this has always felt like it's sort of a long time coming. The last time I was talking to Cowboys sources about this at the Combine, and also since we all have left Indy, you knew that some type of move was going to happen, but I never got the sense that there was a rush to it, that they didn't feel like it's something that had to be done like right at the start of the legal negotiating window, as it's called now, or even necessarily by the start of the new league year, which happens today at 4 p.m. But nonetheless, I was able to tap in with a league source on Ezekiel Elliot, who is saying that, yes, this is a likelihood, not only that it will happen, but within the next few days. As you know, since 2016, after they made some changes to the rules, teams are allowed now to make two designations when it comes to two players that they can put with that post-June 1 designation for cap purposes. And I think it's just somewhat astonishing just when you think of the cachet of an Ezekiel Elliott, you know, being a number 4 overall pick in 2016, a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time rushing champ, somebody that has rushed for over 1,000 yards 3 times. But when you look at it just from the standpoint of his production, particularly since he got that 6-year, $90 million extension in 2019, just going back to last season, he ranks last in terms of players and touches, in terms of their yards per touch, among 200 players with that kind of calibration, rather. And then Tony Pollard, was first in that category as well. So I just think that kind of shows you not only just where he was compared to, where he is, but also the emergence of a Tony Pollard, who last year got over 700 rush yards and for the first time had over 1,000 rush yards this season. But it doesn't mean that Ezekiel is not productive. I do think some of his production has been impacted by Tony Pollard and the fact that he has been somewhat of a bright spot for the Cowboys rushing game. But I do think from a contractual standpoint and just what some of these young guns are doing coming into the NFL, and also how the league values running backs as well, I just think that the Cowboys feel that it's time to move on, rather.
So that Zeke era likely coming to a close in Dallas. You're also reporting now that the Eagles are releasing Darius Slay. What's the latest that you're hearing there?
Well, I just got a text from a league source, obviously somebody who is familiar with the situation. And what they just text me was, quote, love him, just pure economics. And yesterday, especially after having a chance myself personally to talk to James Bradberry after he made the decision to come back, obviously he's the other corner that has been playing opposite, Darius Slay with the Eagles as well. They were able to get Bradberry on a discount. He had opportunities to play with teams for more, and so that worked in their structure. Darius Slay and the team were talking a lot to try to see if they could work things out contractually. That did not come to fruition. And so by 4 p.m. Eastern today, Darius Slay will be an unrestricted free agent. When I think about how many times I've covered the Eagles this past year and going back into that locker room, the sheer chemistry of that team, Darius Slay was a big part of that. I think we not only seen that with the maturation of Jalen Hurts, everybody has come to even know more Brandon Graham. But let me tell you, every time I was in that locker room, Darius Slay has that personality that not only adds to I think just the tapestry of brotherhood, but also just making things light. And so he will be a big loss when it comes to that, but at the same time, as I was talking to Darius Slay over the last couple of days, it is a business. I know that he recognizes that, and I texted him like a couple minutes before we came on. Obviously, this is coming together a little quickly here, but I can tell that he understands that and is embracing a new chapter.
Yeah, that Eagles defense will certainly look a lot different next season. They've now lost 5 of their top 9 players when it comes to defensive snaps played from a season ago, so they'll have a lot of things to figure out. A lot to figure out still around the NFL, especially when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers situation, the NFL's new league year, of course, starting at 4 p.m. How were the Jets feeling as he nears that decision?
Well, it's interesting because, I've had a chance to tap in with sources on that every day as we all continue to wait for Aaron Rodgers to make an official announcement on this situation. And I feel like a couple days ago was a little bit more, and I know I said this in a tweet, anxiously, calm, still kind of hearing that. And I feel like today, even this morning, just in talking to folks, it sounds lighter. And so what do I mean by that? Yesterday, in my conversations, I could tell that at least per their expectation, one of the things that you always hear is with Aaron Rodgers, everyone always says it's Aaron Rodgers. So you got to be careful. But at least per what I'm absorbing by talking to other people, it doesn't feel like they're expecting a retirement announcement. But like I said, you never know if anything comes out with Aaron Rodgers at the last second or what have you. And the other thing that I sense is that it's complicated. There's a lot of levels to this. There are a lot of steps to this. He still would have to make whatever announcement that he's going to make. There's a negotiation that has to happen between 2 teams. And right now, all we really heard are the New York Jets, right? So I feel like from a leverage standpoint, the Packers are really aware of that. I know from my conversations, the Jets are really aware of that. So they still have to come to terms. And when one side feels like the other side has to have this situation, sometimes that leverage can delay things or complicate things as well. Ultimately, I do feel like at some point this is all going to get resolved and will also have an impact on the interest of other free agents. We know yesterday that the Jets added Allen Lazard, obviously a wide receiver who played with the Packers. One of the things that was told to me this morning as to why that was done is not only because of his wide receiver skills, clearly he has a connection to Aaron Rodgers, but also for his blocking skills. I mean, you think back to the O-line last year for the Jets, that was a big deal, particularly after they lost Breece Hall. The defenses were not playing them as honest. So not only will he help them with that after losing Mekhi Becton last year and what have you, but just help the overall protection, which they feel like will help the offense. The other thing that I want to note is that yesterday that I was told that the addition of Allen Lazard is not expected to impact Elijah Moore, who was also part of their wide receiver group right now. I was told specifically that is not on the table. The other thing I want to add to that is a point of clarification. That is from the team's perspective. We'll see how Elijah Moore reacts if there's any other additions to wide receivers, because the last thing I was told is that the addition of Allen Lazard does not impact their desire or ability to add any other free agent wide receivers as well. Potentially, we'll see if that is someone like an OBJ or whoever else.
You mentioned exactly what I wanted to get to next. Speaking of maybe Rodgers having some input in the Jets' moves that they make of free agency, especially at wide receiver, what are the chances that OBJ signs with the Jets?
Well, obviously, Odell just had a really good workout at ASU in Arizona for a number of teams. The Jets were one of the teams that were present for that workout. And I would say that there's mutual interest. Both sides are exploring the possibility of whether he would end up with the Jets. The Jets are not the only team that OBJ is looking at. I would say he does have somewhat of a narrowed list of what that is, but still trying to get information with regards not only from a contractual standpoint, but also, who is going to be the quarterback in certain teams, and just weighing all the different factors when it comes to his life as well. Odell has put in a lot of work to be able to come back from the ACL injury that he suffered in the Super Bowl that was at SoFi. And it's been a long time coming back for him. But not only did he show market improvement, I had an opportunity not only to see the clips that he sent me, but the entire workout from the video as well. And he's definitely a lot more sure in his cuts, and has, as he told me, 6 more months to even get better on top of that. So I know that the Jets are exploring it. I know that they have interest in it, but as we all know, everything has to make sense from a contractual standpoint as well. Even though they signed Lazard and are willing to add another wide receiver, that number still has to make sense to and whatever other team he's considering.
Yeah, that QB situation also probably would hope to make it make a lot more sense should Aaron Rodgers decide that he wants to play for the Jets. She is our NFL insider, Josina Anderson. Josina, thank you very much. Staying busy for sure. And with all the NFL free agency news, make sure you check out the Pick 6 podcast. The latest episode, Katie Mox, Will Brinson, Brady Quinn, and John Breach are all reacting to the latest signings around the league. That includes Stephon Gilmore to the Cowboys and James Bradberry staying in Philly. Like and subscribe for all your podcast needs.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.